Today I will speak about one of the most important Greek metal bands, and especially inside the Greek black metal scene. Of course, I'm speaking about Rotting Christ, and let's speak about this band that together with bands as Necromantia, Varathron, Thou Art Lord, and Astarte, they were the most famous black metal bands from Greece in the 90s, in the second wave of black metal. And together with bands of melodic death metal as Septic Flesh or Nightfall, they were the most famous bands of extreme metal from Greece in these years. The band started in 1987 from the brothers Sakis Stolis and Themis Stolis. In this year, Sakis Stolis had the nickname Necromayhem and Themis Stolis the nickname Necrosavron. Together with Jim Mutilator and the Mangus Vampir Daulov, his real name is George Zacharopoulos, and in the beginning he has the nickname Morbid before he came with the name Mangus Vampir Daulov. Mangus, of course, he was also inside Necromantia, and together, let's say, together with Jim Mutilator, in these days they have a new band of Greek black metal with the name Yoth Iria, and this is the first studio album of them of 2021, As the Flame Withers. If someone likes very much the old school or the old style of Rotting Christ, he has to find this band Yoth Iria, if I read it correctly. In the beginning, Rotting Christ, in their very beginning, they played something between grindcore and black metal of first wave, with influences of Celtic Frost and Venom. So, in their first demo, by the name Satanas Tedeum, and also in their first historical EP, Passage to Arcturus of 1991, there you can find also influences of grindcore and also of prime black metal. Also, they made another historical EP in 1993 by the name Apokathylosis. And they were together, they came out to a European black metal tour by the problematic name Fuck Christ Tour in 1993, together with Immortal from Norway and Blasphemy from Canada. In these years, Oystein Azareth from Mayhem, he wanted to take them together with him in the Deathlike Silence productions and to make the production of their first album, something that he didn't succeed because of his murder by Varg. So their first album, The Mighty Contract, came out in 1993 by Osmos Records. The second album, this was the historical Non Serviam, in 1994 by Unisound Records, and afterwards they were in Century Media for 10 years, and afterwards they are until now in Seasons of Mist until the day that we are speaking. I have to say that together with the Greek melodic death metal or atmospheric melodic death metal Septic Flesh, Rotting Christ, together with Septic Flesh, they came and they come many times to Israel, to play to Israel. But they have many problems, and they had many problems because of their name, of their problematic name, Rotting Christ. They had problems in the United States, also the whole problem with Megadeth and Dave Mustaine. They had a problem in Malta, they had a problem in Georgia, when there they arrested them as Satanist terrorists, something like that. And those who inside Greece, before some months, they had problem in the town Patras inside Greece because of some extreme religious organizations. Now, if we're speaking about the periods of the band, we can find 3 or 4 periods. In their first period, they played grindcore, but afterwards they played Greek black metal, from the mighty Contract until Triarchy of the Last Lovers. From a Dead Poem, they started to play Gothic black metal, and they continued with this even more with the album Chronos, where they became even more Gothic. Afterwards, we can find in their albums Genesis and Sanctus Diabolos a little bit a comeback to the black metal, but also with Gothic influences. And from Theogonia, from the album Theogonia, and afterwards they play black metal with ethnic folk influences, something like that. So I will try here to rank their albums. There are 13 studio albums from worst to best, and in reality they don't have a real worst album. By my depends my opinion, and I know that many people they have many different opinions about their albums. So let's start. In the 13th place, I will put here their 6th album of 2000, in the beginning of the millennium, Chronos. This is a not bad album, but this is more gothic than black metal. So for this reason, I will put it here. In the days that came out, many people they didn't like it, but today there are some hardcore fans of this album. In the 12th place, I will put their 7th album of 2002 by the name Genesis. And here it was a style of comeback. Also, we can find here some gothic elements in their black metal music. And this album is very underrated. Now, in the 11th place, their 8th album of 2004, Sanctus Diabolos, also a very underrated album of them. For me, this is the physical, there is a physical connection with the album Genesis that was before. They prefer it a little bit more from Genesis because of songs as Athanas Tieste or Sanctus Diabolos. Now, in the 10th place, their 5th album of 1999, Sleep of the Angels, and this is also the physical continuation of A Dead Poem. A good album, even more melodic, and also you can find here the gothic elements. 9th place, their last album until now of 2019, the album by the name The Heretics. There are many people that inside Greece that they say that Rotting Christ from Theogonia and afterwards they make albums very common to each other. It has a little bit of truth inside it. It's a good album. Also, they have a Greek song here with, from the famous Greek writer Nikos Nikolaos Kazantzakis, or the writer of Zorba. In the 8th place, the 10th album of them of 2010, Aealo, also a great album, and many people in Greece they like it a lot. But I will put it in this place. 7th place, their 12th album by the name Rituals came out in 2016. Great album. And also here, I think that this is the next album after Κατά τον δαίμονα εαυτού. Here also they have a song a little bit in Hebrew by the Hebrew name Zenigmar. Great album. Now 6th place, a great album and very important of the history of the band. Their 9th album of 2007, Theogonia. Theogonia is great album. From here they started to have the more ethnic influences inside their music. 5th place, their 11th album of 2013, but with the Greek name Κατά τον δαίμονα εαυτού. And if you ask me which album I prefer of this last period, I will say this special album. And now the 4 last or first places. Now, in the 4th place, their 2nd historical album of 1994, Non Serviam. Great album. Also the last album that Magus Vamir Daulov played here, the keyboards, a great album. I will put it here only because the production of the album. Now, in the 3rd place, their first debut album, one of the most important debut albums of the second wave of black metal, came out in 1993, The Mighty Contract. Fortunately, I don't have the original cover art of this album, but great album. 2nd place, for me, one of the most important metal albums, not only inside black metal, inside the whole metal of the 90s. And I'm speaking about their 4th album of 1997, A Dead Poem. Great album with gothic influences. Here they changed also the logo of the band. Great album. Really, I will put it here together. This is so close to my heart, together with albums as Clouds of Tiamat, as Draconian Times, Sides of God of Paradise Lost, Enoral Love, Orphaned Land, this kind of albums. Great album. But in the 1st place, for me, comes their 3rd album, the best of the best, Triarchy of the Last Lovers. Came out in 1996. I have it also in this with this cover art and also with this cover art. And here also in this publication it has some great covers of them of Creator, for example Tormentor, Flag of Hate and Pleasure to Kill from Creator. Great album, and for me this is the best Rotting Christ album ever. So this is about our favorite Greek black metal band Rotting Christ from Israel, from Jerusalem. Stay metal and stay heavy.